Today we are going to learn how to ask questions in French using the French word comment, which means how. Okay, folks, let's have a look at the question word comment, which means how. Okay, now you must have seen it quite a few times, especially if you speak a little French. Okay, now let's have a look at the way we use the word comment in a question. Now you must have seen this. Comment ça va? Comment ça va? Now it literally means how are you? Okay. Comment ça va? Okay, how is it going? That's what it means, really. Now, comment ça va? Okay, comment ça va? But you could say as well, comment est-ce que ça va? Comment est-ce que ça va? And another way of asking the question with comment, ça va comment? Ça va comment? Okay, though this latter is more informal, and used in conversation. Okay, comment ça va? Comment est-ce que ça va? And ça va comment? Now, you must have heard it many times before, okay? Now, another way which you may have been familiar with, okay, of the word comment is this. Comment t'appelles-tu? Comment t'appelles-tu? Now, how are you called and then what is your name? Okay, comment t'appelles-tu? Have you come across this? You must have. Comment t'appelles-tu? Again, using est-ce que, because I've said many times before in my other lessons on asking questions that est-ce que is used all the time. So, comment est-ce que tu t'appelles? Comment est-ce que tu t'appelles? How? What's your name? Sorry, how are you? I was going to say no, I'm confused. Okay, comment est-ce que tu t'appelles? What's your name? Okay. And another way of asking this question, what is your name? You could say, tu t'appelles comment? Tu t'appelles comment? Okay. Again, this is more informal and used more in conversation. Tu t'appelles comment? Okay. Now, comment t'appelles-tu? Comment est-ce que tu t'appelles? Tu t'appelles comment? And you would answer, je m'appelle. Je m'appelle Alexa. Okay. Now, what if you wanted to use the word comment, as in how do you do something? Okay. So you could say, comment faites-vous un gâteau au chocolat? Comment faites-vous un gâteau au chocolat? Now, how do you make a chocolate cake? Comment faites-vous un gâteau au chocolat? Okay, so how do you make a chocolate cake? But another way of asking these questions is comment est-ce que vous faites un gâteau au chocolat? How is it that you make a chocolate cake? Again, you can always add est-ce que after this interrogative pronoun, okay? Comment, pourquoi, qui, and so on. And that makes a sentence a question as well. Now, comment faites-vous un gâteau au chocolat? Vous faites, you make. If you are not familiar with vous faites, have a look at my verb conjugation videos on the verb faire, to do or to make. And this is a present tense. Now, another way of asking the same question, you could say, vous faites un gâteau au chocolat comment? Vous faites un gâteau au chocolat comment? You make a chocolate cake. How? Vous faites un gâteau au chocolat comment? Okay, so again, 3 ways. Comment faites-vous un gâteau au chocolat? Comment est-ce que vous faites un gâteau au chocolat? Et vous faites un gâteau au chocolat comment? By putting the comma at the end. Again, this is more informal. Okay, now another example using comment, I would like to use it in a passé composé, in a past tense, because it's always quite tricky. Now here's an example I've come up with earlier. Comment est-elle arrivée ici? Comment est-elle arrivée ici? Now, arriver means to arrive. Est-elle arrivée means that it's a passé composé. How did she get here? Okay. How did she get here? Comment est-elle arrivée ici? Again, here, instead of saying elle est arrivée ici, we invert the verb and the subject. So, comment est-elle arrivée ici? And we put a hyphen between the subject and the verb. Comment est-elle arrivée ici? Now, using est-ce que, comment est-ce qu'elle est arrivée ici? Okay, here we're using QU with an apostrophe because L begins with a vowel, okay, and QUE is a vowel as well. So you drop the E and you add an apostrophe to make it sound more flowy et better. Comment est-ce qu'elle est arrivée ici? How did she arrive here? Elle est arrivée ici, and you could say en train, by train. Now, another way of asking the same question, but differently by putting comment at the end. Elle est arrivée ici comment? Elle est arrivée ici comment? She arrived here how? Elle est arrivée ici comment? And again, when you use this kind of question, it is more informal, okay? And you use it more in a conversation. Okay, what I'd like you to do now is try to make your own questions using comment. You can come up with any kind of examples, okay? The hardest thing would be to know the tense you are using and whether you invert the verb and the subject and how you're going to do that, okay? The easiest way would be to do comment est-ce que, and then you put the sentence as it is, and you don't need to invert the verb and the subject for that, okay? Try to leave a comment with your examples. I would love to read them, and we'll endeavor to correct them as well. Remember that I have many other videos on questions and on lots of things, actually, obviously related to the French language. Remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are not done so already. I'm mumbling today. If you haven't done so already. And why don't you have a look at learnfrenchwithalexa.com, my proper website where I teach you loads and loads of French. That's it for me. Au revoir, à bientôt. Bisous, bisous.